Hello, we are recording. Um, the Makah Nation should be allowed to resume its traditional hunt for gray whales. Since ancient times, beyond memory or record, the Makah people have made their home in Mia Bay in Washington, which is on the northwesternmost peninsula, the Olympic Peninsula in Washington. They're in the corner right there, which on the lands on the border of or which are bordered by the Pacific Ocean and the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Because of this location, whales and whaling, as well as the ocean, are central to the Makah culture. Whaling is an ancient practice for them, and proof of this practice has been found dating back to at least 2,700 years ago, although it likely dates back further beyond when we have proof. Whales were hunted for their meat and blubber, and all parts of the whales had a designated use when they were successfully caught. Not only did the Makah hunt gray whales, but also humpback, sperm, fin, right, and blue whales. The right to take whales at usual and unaccustomed grounds, it's a Makah tradition, and it was secured at the 1855 Treaty of Mia Bay. And in this treaty, the Makahs ceded title to 300,000 acres of land to the US government in order to protect their right to hunt whales. For reference, 300,000 acres is equivalent to about 5.5 times the size of Seattle. So imagine 5.5 cities of Seattle all next to each other. That's how much land they ceded in order to preserve this right to hunt whales. It's that important to them. In 2004, however, the US Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that in order to pursue these rights, the Makah have to comply with the process which is described in the Marine Mammal Protection Act. So they're basically not able to hunt whales until they get approved by this board. However, it's taking a while for this process to be carried out. The devastation which has been caused to the Makah tribes since European settlement is pretty difficult to sum up. It began when the Europeans made indirect contact with the tribe members, which caused the death of thousands of Makah people through epidemics like smallpox and influenza. It still continues today in the form of representatives in our government when they make laws which, in order to assimilate the Makah tribe, they make laws which force them to conform to Euro-American standards, such as not hunting the whales. Preventing these indigenous tribes from practicing their ancient cultures by way of these restrictive laws like this is contributing to the violence of these people and the erasure of their culture, which started hundreds of years ago. Well, hundreds of years ago, pretty recently. People may say that the Makah no longer need whales for sustenance, and that their ancient tradition is a threat to conservation efforts for the gray whales. But the Makah actually have an intimate relationship with the whales that goes a lot deeper than sustenance. It's spiritual. It's a practice that brings community together, and it's foundational to their culture. And they would never want to harm the conservation efforts of the whales for these reasons and more. They respect and honor the whales. They include them in their artwork, songs, stories, and dance. And Despite ceding hundreds of thousands of acres of land in order to retain their right to whaling, when whale declines were on population due to commercial whaling, not indigenous whaling, they voluntarily paused the hunts and didn't resume until whales were taken off of the endangered species list. Their last successful whale hunt was in 1999, and it was a huge celebration for the whole community. And people say that it brought them together in a way that they haven't seen since. The macaw believed that when hunting, the creature gives its life to them rather than them taking the life from the creature. The creature chooses to give its life to them in order to sustain them and to support their connection with the ocean and with that part of the world. So to wrap up, I ask you to imagine Catholics in America being denied communion. According to a tribal councilman, a tribal council chairman, excuse me, Timothy J. Green, this is how deep this runs for the macaw. It deeply affects them. It's a spiritual practice that they've been barred from, which is not okay. So yes, the macaw should be allowed to resume their practice of hunting gray whales. Thank you.